So Priya has been just on my case about how apparently
As you
I've been
would
too grumpy about the forecast. However,
Okay.
is it kind of
Got
fair to
resources
be a little
here.
bit disappointed by potential snow?
There's a difference between being a grump and being disappointed.
I'll be disappointed.
I've crossed the line?
It was 70s last week. Now the kids are going to be bundled up.
I
See,
know.
that's
We talked about this morning, the kids in their winter costume or their winter
Yeah.
jackets with the costumes.
It is a winter costume.
I know.
You're right.
I mean, at least here, I'm always looking for the silver
Yes,
lining.
you are.
They don't need the umbrella to go with it because the
yes.
precip will probably be frozen coming down to snow.
I do prefer snow over rain. You don't get totally soaked.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that like
Yes.
damp cold.
But you don't want to be holding anything when you've got your little basket for your trick or treat.
Yeah, just make sure you have the gloves on while you're holding the
Yes.
basket, right? So here's a look at your trick-or-treating forecast. So the air temperature will probably be in the upper 30s, but when you factor in some blustery conditions, wind chill readings will be just at or below freezing. So I do think that we'll see some flurries flying through the area. I'm going to dive in the details of that part of the forecast in just a second, but that's just a quick heads up at what we anticipate tomorrow night for trick-or-treating. Otherwise, cloudy with a chilly breeze today. We could see gusts upward of 20 miles per hour. And Halloween, as I just mentioned, is more of a trick than a treat, given that we will have some flurries flying across the area. But we do turn to more seasonal temperatures by the time we get to the weekend. Exact Track 4D. It always could be worse, right? Look at these freeze warnings that are draping from Ohio all the way down into portions of Texas. But I want to zoom in here somewhat closer to home. We're talking about the UP at least, where there are winter weather advisories, and also up towards Houghton. That's where there's a winter storm warning where they could pick up to 8 inches of snow. So a lot of snow being dumped on the UP, some of that snow trickling down into the northern part of lower Michigan. No flurries in our forecast today here in southeastern Michigan, but you can see how a few have developed in mid-Michigan off by Lansing and Ionia. And so for today, we're just going to keep an eye off to what's to our west. However, we have a better chance of those flurries developing as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Detroit Metro Airport right now at 43 degrees, Ann Arbor, Lapeer at 40, and Monroe 43. Starting to see a few breaks in the clouds, so it's brightening things up a little bit, but the winds have been picking up about 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the northwest. So that makes it feel like 32 up in Sandusky, 30 is the feels like in Pontiac, 34 in Mount Clemens, 30s across the board, feeling like freezing in Ann Arbor. Forecast for this afternoon, we'll get a few more breaks in the clouds as we head towards the later part of the afternoon, early evening. Sunset tonight's at 6:30, so that's where you see a little more of the sun just before it sets, and it will remain breezy throughout the afternoon. If you're heading to downtown Detroit for football for the Detroit Lions, expect it to be breezy for tailgating and walking into Ford Field. Low 40s, feeling like 30s. By 8 p.m., it's 37 degrees and 35 with some clearer skies by 11 o'clock as folks are leaving with, of course, a Lions victory. Clouds and radar forecast taking you throughout the rest of the afternoon. By 7, clear skies. Clear skies overnight allow those temperatures to tumble. Then we'll start to see the clouds building in before sunrise tomorrow. So the clearing skies doesn't work out well for us as far as seeing a ton of sun. By 3 o'clock tomorrow, still looking like we're just dealing with overcast skies, but boom, by 6, just in time for trick-or-treating. Some flurries start to develop across the area and stick with us throughout the evening and maybe even into tomorrow night up into the thumb. So tonight, 29 degrees for the overnight low, and looking at your future forecast, we'll be waking up in the 20s for several days. We don't get back in the 50s until this weekend.